Impermanence. There is no place on earth where death cannot find us. Even if we constantly twist our heads about in all directions, as in a dubious and suspect land, if there is any way of sheltering from death's blows, I am not the man to recoil from it. But it is madness to think that you can succeed. Men come and they go, and they trot and they dance, and never a word about death. All well and good. Yet when death does come, to them, their wives, their children, their friends, catching them unawares and unprepared, then what storms of passion overwhelm them, what cries, what fury, what despair. To begin depriving death of its greatest advantage over us, let us adopt a way clean, contrary to that common one. Let us deprive death of its strangeness. Let us frequent it. Let us get used to it. Let us have nothing more often in mind than death. We do not know where death awaits us, so let's wait for it everywhere. To practice death is to practice freedom. A man who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave. Montag. Why is it so hard to practice death and to practice freedom? And why exactly are we so frightened of death that we avoid looking at it altogether? Somewhere, deep down, we know we cannot avoid facing death forever. We know, in Milarepa's words, this thing called corpse we dread so much is living with us here and now. The longer we postpone facing death, the more we ignore it, the greater the fear and insecurity that build up to haunt us. The more we try to run away from that fear, the more monstrous it becomes. Death is a vast mystery, but there are two things we can say about it. It is absolutely certain that we will die, and it is uncertain when or how we will die. The only surety we have, then, is this uncertainty about the hour of our death, which we seize on as the excuse to postpone facing death directly. We are like children who cover their eyes in a game of hide-and-seek and think that no one can see them. Why do we live in such terror of death? Because our instinctive desire is to live and to go on living, and death is a savage end to everything we hold familiar. We feel that when it comes, we will be plunged into something quite unknown, or become someone totally different. We imagine we will find ourselves lost and bewildered in surroundings that are terrifyingly unfamiliar. We imagine it will be like waking up alone, in a torment of anxiety, in a foreign country, with no knowledge of the land or language, no money, no contacts, no passport, no friends. Perhaps the deepest reason why we are afraid of death is because we do not know who we are. We believe in a personal, unique, and separate identity. But if we dare to examine it, we will find that this identity depends entirely on an endless collection of things to prop it up. Our name, our biography, our partners, family, home, job, friends, credit cards. It is on their fragile and transient support that we rely on for our security. So when they are all taken away, will we have an idea of who we really are? Without our familiar props, we are faced with just ourselves, a person we do not know, an unnerving stranger with whom we have been living with all the time, but we never really wanted to meet. Isn't that why we have tried to fill every moment of time with noise and activity? however boring or trivial, to ensure we are never left in silence with this stranger on our own. And doesn't this point to something fundamentally tragic about our way of life? We live under an assumed identity in a neurotic fairy tale world with no more reality than the mock turtle in Alice in Wonderland. Hypnotized by the thrill of building, we have raised the houses of our lives on sand. This world can seem marvelously convincing until death collapses the illusion and evicts us from our hiding place. What will happen to us then if we have no clue of any deeper reality? When we die, we leave everything behind, especially this body we have cherished so much, relied upon so blindly, and tried so hard to keep alive. But our minds are no more dependable than our bodies. Just look at your mind for a few minutes. You will see that it is like a flea, constantly hopping to and fro. You will see that thoughts arise without any reason, without any connection, swept along by the chaos of every moment. We are the victims of the fickleness of our mind. If this is the only state of consciousness we are familiar with, then to rely on our minds at the moment of death is an absurd gamble.